The idea is that the better you get at communicating your value, your services, potentially your fees, the less pushback you're going to get on pricing.
All right. I'm Rebecca Hay, and I've built a successful interior design business by trial and error, podcasts, online courses, and so many freaking books. Over the last decade, I've grown from an insecure student to having false starts to careers, and now I'm finally in the place where I want to be. Throughout my journey, it's been pretty obvious that I'm passionate about business and helping other entrepreneurs do the same. Each week, I'll share tangible takeaways from my own experience and the experiences of other badass women to help you build your confidence and change your business.
Hey, it's Rebecca, and you are listening to Resilient by Design. Today, we're bringing back an episode that I think every single interior design firm owner needs to hear again, especially if you've ever had that awful stomach drop moment after sending a proposal. You know what I'm talking about. You hit send on your computer and then silence. You know the one. You've had the consultation. You've walked through the space. You've listened to the client's hopes, wish list, family needs, renovation dreams, all of it. And you go back to your desk, put together the proposal, work up the nerve to hit send, and then suddenly you are refreshing your inbox like it's your part-time job. You know what I'm talking about. You wake up in the morning. Did it come through? And then when you don't hear back, your brain starts filling in all the blanks. Was it too expensive? Did I scare them off? Should I have explained it better? Do they think I'm ridiculous? What happened to them? Pricing can be challenging. It can bring up a lot, even when you know you're good at what you do, even when you know your work carries real value and you know you can help them. Even when you know your clients are not just paying for a pretty room. In this episode, I am sharing a lesson from my own business about pricing pushback and what it taught me about confidence, communication, and leadership. Because the goal is not to convince every person to hire you. The goal is to build a business where your value is understood before you feel like you have to defend it. Right? Wouldn't that feel good? So if you've ever felt awkward talking about money, hello, 2 hands in the air for me here, second guess your fee, or if you've ever wondered what to do when a client questions your price, this episode is worth revisiting. Enjoy. Today, I want to tackle in this shorty episode, pricing, objections, and what to do when a client immediately, actually before they're even a client, how do you handle it when they have pricing objections, when they are resistant to conversations around money and pricing and likely your design fee? So let's talk about the money, honey. This is something that I have experienced a lot over the years, especially in the early years. I can say that I didn't do a great job of communicating with clients early on. You know, if you've taken Power of Process with me, you know I'm like a broken record. I constantly am reminding students that you need to communicate with your clients early and often. And by early, I mean that starts with how you show up in the world. That starts with your website, the copy that's on your website, your Instagram, if you have any other online materials, if you have documents you send to clients before you have a discovery call, then that means the discovery call, and so on. The idea is that the better you get at communicating your value, your services, potentially your fees, the less pushback you're going to get on pricing. The less you're going to have clients say, oh, wow. So let me tell you a story. I'm not sure if I've shared this story here on the podcast before, so if you've heard it before, sorry. But several years ago, I was starting out this new fixed fee pricing model. And if you guys are curious what my fixed fee pricing model is, I share it with you inside my course, Pricing with Confidence. You can go get it on my website. But essentially, I was exploring this idea of fixed fee. I really liked the idea of a fixed fee because I hated talking about the money. I hated having those situations where you would like send out, that final invoice or any invoice, and you would just like hold your breath and wait to hear from the client. And I just hated that. It really ate at me, and it was just the least enjoyable part of my job. I'm happy to say I've eliminated that now. But when I first thought, okay, I'm going to do a fixed fee, this is going to be great, I went to a consultation. They paid me for the consultation. I think at the time I was charging like $450 or $500. And it was in this like big condo downtown Toronto. I got there and immediately realized like, ooh, these people, I don't think they really have my taste. And I'm not sure. They don't seem like the type of people who really have money. And I started to get a little bit nervous. I realized as I was standing there that I had done a very poor job really pre-qualifying them before I got there. But anyhow, I thought, well, they've paid me. Maybe they have money. They could afford to pay for the consultation, which I will say that is a game changer. Once you start charging for consultations, you will get less pushback on pricing because you are immediately pre-qualifying and you are immediately eliminating many tire kickers. But some slip through the cracks. So we did the consultation. I remember thinking like now that I'm better at trusting my gut, I'm pretty sure I was sitting in their space being like, this is not the project for me. Like they are not going to hire me. But anyhow, I went through my spiel at the end and I said, I will send you over a proposal. I think the next day or a couple of days later, I sent them an email and I sent them my proposal. And I don't remember the amount, but it was high for me at the time. It was definitely more than $10,000. I remember doing that thing where I'm like, and you hit send on the email and then you wait. Well, shoot, I waited a day. I waited 3 days. A week goes by and I don't hear anything. So I'm like, well, I should probably follow up. So I send an email and I follow up with them. It's like, I just wonder if you had any questions about the proposal. Nothing. Ghosted us. Like absolutely nothing. And guess what? I never heard from them again. And so I can only assume that they were so offended by the price that I presented them that they were like, this woman is crazy. I can't believe that she thinks it's going to be this much. We never would have hired her for the consultation had we known that her fees would be this much. So this might happen to you. Maybe it's happened to you. Don't sweat it. This is all just part of the learning. But I can tell you it sucks. So I wanted to share a little bit more with how you can stop these situations happening and avoid having that story again. And so what I'm going to say is you might still get objections for price. Like you might still have the consultation, think you pre-qualified them, and then present them your proposal. And they are like, whoa, that's more. But if you do it in the way that I teach, where you schedule a circle back call where you're either on Zoom or in their house to present the pricing, you can get their feedback in real time. And if they say, okay, this is more than we thought, or we can't afford this, or whatever, or is there wiggle room, whatever their objection is, if you're with them in person when they're receiving the information, you can see their reaction. They're going to say something or they don't say something, and you can ask questions asking, how's it going so far? Do any questions come to mind? This way, you can get ahead of it. And they may not hire you, but at least you'll know why and you'll have closure. Instead of the sending off the proposal into the interweb and nobody knows where it went. Shoot, maybe they never got it. I don't know.
Quick break here. Raise your hand if you've ever chased a client through 17 email threads trying to get specifications approved. Yeah, we've all been there. There's a program. It's called Programma, and it gives clients a simple approve or reject option for each item. Everything is timestamped, and you have a dashboard view of exactly what still needs to be done. No more digging through email threads and text chains with clients. Plus, if you use Canva for client presentations the way that we do, you can embed them directly into the client portal so everything lives in one place. Programma is the kind of project management system that keeps projects moving without you having to constantly follow up. Yes, it's true. Go check it out at programma.design and use code RBD25 for 25% off your annual subscription.
What do you do though when you are pre-qualifying, right? And so pre-qualifying is showing up, being super clear on how you work on your site, on your website, on your Instagram, in your paperwork, in your discovery call. So when you have that phone call with them, make sure you're asking the right questions and make sure you're sharing the right information. And then in the consultation, what are you communicating to them? Like, how are you setting their expectations that you are going to be at a certain level? What I recommend you do is that you talk about the level of finishes. You talk about how you work with custom vendors. You talk about things that are going to give them an indication, like, this woman is not going to be cheap. She may not be the most expensive, but you need to lay the groundwork. If you just say, yeah, I can do anything, and maybe that's where you're at and you want to do anything and you don't care if people object over price because you'll work with them and you negotiate, then that's amazing and probably this episode's not for you. But this episode is really for the people who are wanting to charge a higher fee. They know that they have that experience. They know that they offer that value, and yet clients aren't seeing the value. So first thing is, you need to make sure you have pre-qualified them. If you haven't pre-qualified them with a discovery call, it's going to be more likely that you're going to get into situations or into homes where the client is not in alignment with your value. So that's the first thing. And you guys can get my free discovery call script on my website. Just go to RebeccaHay.com/discovery. I think it is, or discovery call. Go check it out. You'll find it there. It's in the free resources. And then the next thing is you need to talk about money early. Again, early and often. You need to talk about money. You need to talk about investment. You need to talk about, well, in the last project that we worked on that sounds about similar, in the end, the project spend was $100,000, or in the end, it was this. However you want to talk about money, and it's up to you if you want to bring in like past projects as an example, or if you want to like have a cheat sheet in front of you, you're welcome to tell them exactly how you calculate your design fee. But it's really important, or maybe you have a minimum design fee. That's something that I've started doing. You know, our minimum design fee is $20,000. Anything less than that, I mean, I don't say that wording to the client, but anything less than that is just not worth my time because I have a team that I need to support and I'm not doing it all myself anymore. And so if they don't want that level of service, then we're not for them. Like, we are going to offer a higher level of service because we have multiple humans collaborating on their project. It's not the same as a one-woman show. And so you need to communicate with them and let them know the money, like have the money conversation early. So that's 2. And then 3 is, what do you do when you're in the situation and they're saying it's too expensive? The way I see it is you have 2 choices. You can hold firm and say, this is our price. You know, we'd love to work with you, but this is our price and here's why. Or 2, you could say, what did you have in mind and how much were you considering a reasonable spend for an interior designer? And see what they say. And then what you can just do, if they give you a number, you have to determine, is it even worth it for that number? But regardless, reduce the scope. So a great way to get in front of someone's objection, even if it's pricing over materials, right? Or pricing over construction, or if they're having an objection to pricing on fabric and furniture, what you can do is say, absolutely, we can design for that amount, but we'll have to reduce the scope. So there's always going to be a way that you can meet them. And that's going to be up to you to decide if you want to work with them. If they say, we've got $5,000 to spend, but you know that you can't design their whole house for $5,000, then you could say, you know what, for that amount, I'd be happy to design the kitchen. And then we can look at phasing out the project, for example. I hope those tips were helpful for you. I just wanted to be this like a quick, short reminder that we all deal with this. We all get clients who object to our price. Doesn't matter what level you're at. You could be charging $500 or you could be charging $50,000. You're still always going to get those clients that need you to reconfirm your value or to let them know, here's why and here's what you're going to get. But I think that you've got this and I think you can do this. And I know because I've been there and I've done it. And I've been able to continually increase my design fee. I've been able to continually increase my service level. So if I can do it, I know you can too. Sometimes it's just having someone like me in your ear telling you, you can do it, but don't forget, early and often. I'll see you soon.
The Resilient by Design podcast is produced by Vera Marquez, edited by Abby Circatella, and hosted by yours truly, Rebecca Hay.